Now, what is philosopher then? Do you think why there is something called justice? Why do we follow something called justice? Do you understand from where this concept of equality came? Do you question as to why people believe in what they believe? Do you question with curiosity what is this God? Is God there? Not there? Do you even question morality as to why a particular thing is moral and particular thing is not moral, immoral? If you do, you are already a philosopher. Do you think for anything with depth? Do you think why there is something called justice? Why do we follow something called justice? Do you understand from where this concept of equality came? Do you question as to why people believe in what they believe? Do you also do the dispassionate studies of religions of the world? Do you question with curiosity what is this God? Is God there? Not there? Do you even question morality as to why a particular thing is moral and particular thing is not moral, immoral? If you do, you are already a philosopher. Like the one who loves running is a runner. You may not be Usain Bolt, but you're still a runner. The one who loves batting is a batsman. You may not be Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli, but you are still a batsman. Like that, if you love knowledge, you are a philosopher. You may not be Plato, Aristotle, Buddha, Shankaracharya, Vardhaman Mahavir, or Aurobindo, but you are a philosopher. Now, what is philosopher then? There are two definitions. One is a very simplistic definition, straightforward definition, broad definition, which you might already know. The one who loves knowledge, the one who pursues knowledge, the one who longs for knowing is a philosopher. The other definition, little more concrete and little more pragmatic, is that the one who obviously does the first and also has a consistent logical model in the form of some theory, that is a philosopher. Like, are you a scientist? Yes. Why? Because anything that happens, you would like to know what is the cause behind this, how to avoid this or repeat this depending upon the result. But we are not a scientist in a academic sense because we do not have on our name theory of relativity, law of gravitation. Okay, so the way Einstein comes with theory of relativity, philosophers are coming with theory of reality. Theory of relativity is a very specific scientific explanation of some aspect of science, aspect of physicality. Philosopher is giving you theory of what is real and what is not real, what appears to be real and what reality is. And for that they have their own explanation. Now let me ask you another question. Do you believe what you perceive? Perceive means whether you see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, or touch it. 5 indriyas, 5 sense organs we have. Do you believe on what you see or feel or sense or touch? Yes, we do. Why? Why I'm asking this is because there have been so many instances where you saw something, you believed that thing to be there, but later on you realize that my perception was flawed. You see a snake, you get intimidated, you run away, you try to do something, and somebody comes and tells you, "Arey, it's not a snake, it's just a rope." Or you see in a desert, You see there is a big lake or a pond there and you are anyway thirsty, so you run or walk towards it. The moment you go close to it, you realize there is no water, it was just a mirage water. Like that, so many things in life happens where our perception goes wrong, clearly wrong. Why do you believe perception? Then why don't you question the perception each and every time? Yes, there might be some pragmatic convenience issues, but as a philosopher, I'm asking, as somebody who is interested in certainty in knowledge. Okay, because as you might already know, if it is not certain, it is not knowledge. If I tell you that tomorrow the class may be there on 11 o'clock or may not be there, what would you do with this information? Nothing. There has to be certainty for something to be called knowledge. So if perception is going wrong, perception can go wrong. So why do you believe that perception? Philosopher would give you answer to this. Okay, because perception is perhaps the only window, only lens that we have to peep into outside us. Okay, because we have five senses, we have knowledge about outside world. Okay, but there is something called inference, where you do not see that thing but you still know it is. For example, when you see the smoke in a mountain, when you see the smoke into the building, you instantly know that there is a fire. Have you seen the fire? No. Have you felt the fire? No. Have you smelt it? No. There is something that you are applying which is not under your perception. That is called inference. So perception and inference both can be used as the tool for the knowledge. And by the way, mind you, it's not just perception and inference. There are other sources through which we get knowledge. That's what philosopher does. Philosopher is not just telling you what reality is. Philosopher is also telling you how to know that reality. The first thing that philosopher tells, that is what is reality, is called metaphysics. The other stuff, that is how to know that reality, is called epistemology. So metaphysics and epistemology, if you have even a slightest inclination as to think, ponder upon, question, analyze as to what is real, what is not real, how to know that real, how not to know that real, what knowledge is certain, what is not. If you have a slightest inclination of knowing what it is, like answering these questions that I just listed, you are a philosopher. And if you, for example, if you are a batsman at your level and want to be a better batsman, what do? You watch Virat Kohli playing, you watch Sachin Tendulkar playing, you listen to their advices, you listen to your coach. Like that, if you are inclined to it, what do? You read or you listen to what Plato said, you listen to what Shankaracharya said, you listen to what Aurobindo said, and also listen to the coach who is explaining you what they meant. Okay, so the philosopher is the one who has longing for knowledge, and I'm sure all of you have, because it's a natural human tendency. We are a rational animal, so we always want to know things. Curiosity is like inherent to us. But do you not want to channelize and train your curiosity itself? Okay, how to think is more important than what to think. What to think is what society, faith, beliefs will tell you. How to think, how to analyze. Are there some rules? Are there some system? So, as I said, there are some techniques in running, there are some techniques in batting, there are some techniques in swimming. Like that, there are some techniques in knowing. It is a very established, it's very systematic way of knowing. There is one way of knowing where you are not applying any system, it's very haphazard. Normally we do in our normal life, and that's why we go wrong. But philosopher is somebody who has a systematic way of knowing. He has his own explanation as to why this is the way, why perception has to be believed, why inference has to be believed. Is there something called testimony? Is there something called, some other way of knowing things? Okay. So everybody who has even a slightest inclination about these questions is a philosopher. And as I always say, being Indians, like politics and cricket, philosophy is inherent in us. You might see, you go to this small pawn shop, tea stall, and he will tell you what philosophy is. When people talk about life, have you seen perceived life? No. You have experienced life. And you are talking about future which you are not perceived. On what basis? Philosophy. Your ability to think long term. So, everybody who has that capacity to think in the direction wherein the broad aspects of life are being brought under your commentary, you are a philosopher. Normally, this is also seen that philosophy is something that very abstract, very esoteric, something that we don't understand. It's not the case. It's just matter of you developing that taste. And by the way, it is a very reactionary way to say that philosophy is something, it's very difficult. It is the obvious thing. The only thing is you need to have a little training your mind, training your thinking, and for that there are some methods, there are some techniques, and it helps across, because knowledge is the key today, whichever knowledge it is. But the area of knowledge is less important. Method of knowing, technique of knowing is more important. The one who talks about technique of knowing is a philosopher. The one who talks about knowledge of that field, he is an expert of that field. Somebody likes to know, likes to gain more information of history is a historian. But somebody who wants to know the technique of knowing itself, technique of thinking, how to think, what to think, depends on your practical life. It depends on what you want to do. Okay, if you want to study polity, you have to study polity. If you want to have the information of history, you have to study history. But how to read, how to understand, how to compile, what happens, how memory works, and I'll tell you, this psychological aspect, even if you know, it's not going to help you, because that is a very technical stuff. Even if you know this is how psychology works, it is not going to enhance your memory. It's not going to enhance your ability to know. You should know, and you should be able to put things on paper as to what is the explanation of this knowing process. It is very, very interesting that people have acquired. It's very, very interesting to know how things are known. What is the method of knowing? Okay, and there are very interesting, very established methods. So if you have a slightest inclination, you are a philosopher, and you should forget about anything else, should pursue as to what. Like somebody who has, it's like saying everybody is a bathroom singer. Some are better singers, but just imagine if they get some training in the established techniques. You know what happens to their singing? It becomes very, very refined. And what better can be if your argumentation, if your analysis, if your thinking becomes very refined, right? Nothing like that, because in the world, that's the key. Many people say information is knowledge. No, information is not knowledge. Data is also not knowledge. Even like information is more about memory. Data is also more about memory, but understanding is a step further. Experiencing is a step further, and realization is the ultimate step. That's what the sequence of how knowledge works. So if you have a data, it does not have any meaning unless it becomes information. If you have information, it does not have any meaning unless it becomes understanding. Understanding does not have any meaning unless it becomes experience. And experience does not have any meaning unless it becomes realization. Because then realization is decision. Realization gives you the power to decide. Realization gives you clarity, and it's all about clarity. People talk about confidence. Let me tell you, there is nothing called confidence. Confidence is just a byproduct of clarity. If you're clear about something, you're confident about it. If you're not clear about something, you're not confident about it. Faking confidence is not the replacement of confidence. It might serve some purpose for some time, but it is not going to help you in long term, because confidence is real confidence. Somebody has gone through it, somebody has got acquired clarity of it, is the only one who can be confident about it. So always look for clarity, not confidence. Confidence will come anyway. If you are clear, you are confident. And how to look for clarity, how to put efforts for clarity? Knowing, realizing, experiencing, analyzing, ability to communicate. Okay, now in a library, if you just stuff the books, just dump the books, truckload of books came and you just dumped it, what happens? Next time when you want book, would you know it where it is kept? No. Data retrieval is also dependent on how you put it. For that, you should know how to put it. There are courses for librarians. Like that, there are courses of head. How to put that thought. That thought has to go in not as a bombardment. It has to go organically with a method inside. And then only you can retrieve it better. So, and that is the philosopher who knows how to put it in, with a system, with a technique, and how to bring it out whenever required without a delay. So, to this question, are you a philosopher? My answer is simple. If you have a slightest inclination to talk about deep things, talk about deeper meanings, talk about different aspects, talk about larger aspects in the society and the life, you are ready to receive or ready to listen to those who already put efforts on that, established philosophers, thinkers, the terminologies that they came up with, because the terms is different terminologies that actually enhances different aspects of your knowing. It's not just words. These are concepts to which words are just symbols. People think that it's just words. No. More nuanced vocabulary if you have, more nuanced understanding you will have. More nuanced understanding you have, more nuanced vocabulary would you have. Okay, both are simultaneous. So if you want to know better, you have to have terminologies like that. And if you want to have terminologies, you want to know better. Both goes hand in hand. So somebody who has slightest inclination to this, somebody who wants to know things in a better way and clearer picture. Okay, philosopher is like watching on 900 pixels as compared to watching on 300 pixels. Watching on 180 pixel or maybe 2000 pixels, that's how the clarity enhances. More and more nuanced, more and more clarity. And that nuances is what philosophy brings into. It's not just about academic subject, it's about knowledge. It's about your perspective toward life. It's about how sharp is your perception. So if you think you have the arguments, you want to have the arguments, you want to have the ability to critically analyze, dispassionate analysis, you are philosopher. And it is the philosopher who ultimately contribute to the culture. All the culture, civilization, language, religion, faith, everything, some or the other philosopher has worked before. Because there was Kant, Voltaire, Jean-Paul Sartre, and others, Rousseau, philosophers, we have something called French Revolution. Because we have something like Buddha, Jaina, Shankaracharya, we have the meditative techniques that we know, Rishi Munis, Vedas, because them we have these techniques. Even scientists in India, there is no difference between scientist and a philosopher. All are rishis. Why? Knowledge. Science is one of the field. It's not against philosophy, it's not against religion. It is one of the field of knowing. Ultimately, mother of all knowing is what philosophy is generally labeled with or generally tagged with. Okay, so the one who knows one who wants to know is a philosopher. One is who is ready to put little more efforts to know is a philosopher. Ready to know how to think and is ready to think also is a philosopher. Philosopher is the one who has perhaps highest logical stamina. What is logical stamina? Your ability to not lose logic in spite of not getting results for a long time. You have to put I will not leave logic, I will not leave rationality unless I get the result. If I'm not getting, I'm not going to just get exhausted and believe on something. That is not philosopher. Philosopher is somebody who questions. That is the tradition of India. India's tradition itself is that. Question. Even in Bhagavad Gita, what Arjun is doing? Question. He is questioning the God himself, but question. Why? Clarity is important. Okay, not just because somebody is telling. Clarity is important. What did Buddha say? Do not believe any word that I say. Just try, just check whether whatever I am saying or anybody is saying is of any benefit, any welfare of yours. Okay, he says attadhipa bhava, means be your own lamp, be your own torch. So that's what philosopher is, and nothing can bring confidence but knowledge. Nothing can bring confidence without clarity. Clarity without knowledge is not possible. So everybody is a philosopher, and especially those who want to put efforts to better that philosophical sharpness is is going to be a better philosopher. So there are only good philosopher, better philosopher, or best philosopher. There is nobody who is not a philosopher. Okay, thank you very much.